What's up, guys? Broad Street CrossFit Running Challenge starts today. So I want to make my first video with a little bit of a tutorial or a kind of like a tip for your form or technique for your running. Just a couple things about the running challenge. The first thing is that we programmed it 3 days a week, so Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, with 1 day rest in between. But you don't have to do it exactly on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You do want to do it in that order, and ideally you do have a rest day in between sessions. We got to work with what we've got. Still keep the order, but yeah, you could do like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday thing. You could do Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, whatever you got to do. It doesn't affect the way your points would be on the board if you take a picture and everything like that. So work with what you got. Secondly is whenever you do your sessions, make sure you're writing down your split times. And by split times, what we mean is you want to have a time number for every single round that you do. So if you do 5 2-minute intervals or something like that, you're going to have 5 different times so that we can compare. Post those with your photo or send them to me. You can learn a lot about your current capabilities and how to kind of game plan for the next session based off of that. Just really briefly, a quick way to do that would be like if my first session, my first interval is done in 10 seconds and then all the intervals after that are very long and 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, and I'm trailing off, then I went way too hard in my first interval, so I need to adjust and pace for for further sessions. And not just because we're trying to learn how to pace, pacing is important of course, but because it's actually attacking the wrong energy system. So like a 10-second sprint would attack the anaerobic and glycolytic and ATP, phosphagen pathways, and we're looking for a more oxidative aerobic training through our running session. So right off the bat we can say, okay, look, we have to adjust this. If your sessions were, your split times were pretty simple, pretty quick, and pretty consistent, 40, 40, 40, 40, 42, then that's cool. That gives you a time. 42 is our, or 41 or 40 is our average 200 split time. Then we can use that for our next session, and also we can use that time and try to get a little bit faster. Maybe we make our next session 39s or 38s. And then if our split times are like getting faster and then your last of 5 intervals is your fastest, then you obviously held too much back, and so that'll teach you like, okay, look, I got more in the tank, I overpaced that one. So just keep track of your split time, send them to me if you need any help kind of reading them and giving some input on them. I love doing that kind of stuff. So for our first running tutorial video, I want to kind of set the groundwork for the following videos to come. The videos to follow are basically going to be drills and then some information stuff, but the main thing, the main issue that I see with a lot of people's running technique is that they heel strike and they don't use gravity to their advantage and do what and pose run to the best of their abilities. Now, when we're running a sprint, like when I was a kid, running a sprint, my dad used to tell me to like whip my arms as hard as I could and push into the ground as hard as I could, and that got me somewhere. And I did that for all running. I just pump my arms a little bit less and I push into the ground a little less hard for longer distances. And that's what most Americans do. We have this kind of like, when we run, we have this kind of like vertical bounce, and we're using all of our muscles to push off the ground and propel us to the next step. They say that the American Olympic 5-miler, I think it's a 5K run, but the guy that does that, he will never beat the other countries because he has such a vertical leap when he runs, like most of us, that he runs an extra 2 miles vertically every time he runs 5 miles. Other countries are beating us in that fact. So I'm a huge fan of pose running. I learned it in the military, basically, not from the military, but when I was in the military, because from necessity, because we ran so much. I was one of these guys when I first started to run, I got like an exorbitant amount of shin splints, plantar fasciitis. I was always really bound up. I also had to have like these certain running shoes that had to be fit perfectly and all that kind of stuff. So basically, what happened was I started doing CrossFit, I took the CrossFit endurance course, and I started being less, I used a more minimus shoe, and I started to, instead of heel strike, pushing my heel into the ground, I started landing on my toes and kind of falling forward. So here's a little bit of background on that. They think that Americans are pretty much prone to becoming heel strikers, because when we're really little, we end up buying running shoes, and we buy these running shoes, they have padding, and as time went on, the companies kept adding padding because they wanted to be the most comfortable shoe, the gel cushion, all this kind of great stuff. Even doctors are like, hey, you need to have these inserts to make them softer and softer and softer. And it's not wrong. We do need padding if we heel strike. However, because of padding, we became heel strikers. See what I'm saying? So it's kind of like a which came first, the chicken or the egg type thing. So the problem with heel striking is, one, it's not the most efficient way to run. Two, it's brutal on the joints. So the idea that running is really bad on your joints is true when you're doing anything in high volume. If I chopped wood every single day, 100 million times for my whole entire life, it would be bad on my elbow joints. But it's even worse when we're heel striking. So if you look at me jumping here, if you see me jumping on my toes, right, that looks pretty smooth, right? Now this is me jumping on my heels. All right, it's unnatural. However, we run that way. We're taking thousands and thousands of steps driving our heel into the ground. We have this padding in our shoe, so we don't really get it absorb some of the shock, and we don't really get the same effect that we would get if we were barefoot running into the ground, driving our heel into the ground. Watch somebody run barefoot outside on concrete. If you step on a rock, you're screwed, for sure. But you're going to tend to notice they're going to stay a lot more light and into their toes instead of slamming their heel into the ground. So when I was in the Army, I decided to get into CrossFit. I started doing getting into Brian McKenzie's running stuff, and I switched to a Minimus shoe. And being a kid in the Army, I didn't have like my other set of running shoes or whatever. And in the Army, you never really know what you're going to do for PT that day. Generally, you're going on a run, but it could be a hill run, a rocky run, a run through sand, run with push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, air squats, back squats, you never know. Dragging some stuff. So being a kid, I had one pair of running shoes. It was my Reebok Nano 1s, and actually it was Innovates back in the day, and they were really Minimus. And the first month I bought them for CrossFit, they were great. And after every single run, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sore. And what I realized was in that time, those first 2 months when I was running with Minimus shoes, all the stuff that was normally used, I was like leaning on the running shoe for, was being strengthened. My ankle was getting stronger, my plantar fasciitis was gone because my feet were getting stronger and used to gripping the ground when I run. My Achilles tendonitis started to go away. My knee pain kind of on the outside of my leg through IT band started to go away. So it was pretty cool, and it happened through soreness and through me forcing myself to do it. Most people, that first day running in Minimus shoes, they get really sore, and you even see it in the CrossFit gym all the time. They'll program a running WOD, and all of a sudden they come in with this like super high-tech ASIC or Brooks running shoe that has a ton of padding, which is basically a pillow for your foot. And it's because we've built up a kind of like a crutch towards it, and we heel strike, so we kind of need the padding. But you see where you can kind of make this switch. So they find that like other countries where they don't have like a big running shoe industry, where they're not making like a ton of money, like kids that are running barefoot, especially like Africa type countries, they're doing a lot more pose running, and they're kicking our butts when it comes to running in the Olympics. So pose running is the act of pulling my feet off the ground and falling forward instead of pushing. So this is what it looks like when I'm just running regular, American style, running shoe style. I'm bouncing. This is pose running. I have a lean and I pull my foot off the ground. Notice there's less of a bounce, more so if I move my hands and the wall's not there, I just start falling forward. Kind of like someone walking with some books and they trip and they get the cool extra step to make it look like they meant to do that. For you guys, learning how to pose run is going to be something that is not going to come easy. This is a perfect program to try to implement it because it'll do it in small doses, but it is a skill. And you're going to notice in your harsh run environment, after a few intervals, you're going to go back and revert back to your old stuff. So this is a great way to practice implementing it, this program. So just a couple like facets on it. We're trying to lean. We're trying to lean at the ankles. They say that the human body falls at 23 degrees, which is kind of like the Michael Jackson dance move, and then he comes all the way back up. Usain Bolt, it runs at like 21 degrees, which is pretty crazy. He does pose run. And the reason you know this is because he says it, but also because whenever you see him in a slow motion picture, he's always in this figure 4 position with his legs. If you ever see long, or Americans doing their like running, a lot of times since we're driving off the ground, you see this trail foot dangling back here, and in their freeze frames. Usain Bolt, here. Because he's not pushing and then his foot's getting stuck, he's pulling his heel to his butt and falling forward, staying very tight and compact. For the hands should be to the side, pretending like you're gripping a cracker. You don't want to be bound up here. They should just stay here the whole entire time when you're running, if you're running aerobic. If you're doing a sprint, all right, yeah, you can pump a little bit, sure. But for long distances, we don't want this twist. That's putting a lot of force in other directions. Just like our American style of running puts a lot of force in an upward, now side to side direction, okay? We don't want any of those things. We're just trying to go forward. All right, so here's my hand position. Boom. All right, easy, just like that. All right, and then what I want you guys to do, your first drill for learning how to become pose runners, is gonna be to practice the lean. So you're gonna have your hands about arms width away on the wall, and then straight arms, go to the palms. I have a little bit of a lean, so a little further than arms width, and then I'm gonna bring my heel to my butt. Heel to butt, toe down. All right, now I'm gonna switch. Switch, 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 switch. I wanna make sure I don't jump to the switch. It's just a fall and pull, fall and pull. All right. The body should not like, I know I had a little bit of hip action there because I was kind of looking at you guys and talking while I was doing it, but body should be straight, and we're just gonna pull, okay? Do sets, so you're gonna do like 4 sets of 10 heel switches before you run. So you'll be here, cool, there you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 10, and maybe do something else, you know, whatever you're gonna do, you know, cool, awesome. Then another set, same thing, do a little stretch and twist thing, a little leg kick, whatever you guys wanna do, and you'll do 4 to 5 sets of 10 reps of those heel pulls. That'll be your first drill to work on the pose running. All right, guys, let me know if you have any questions on that. Good luck, more to follow, and have fun.